Hi, my name is Alessandro Gangelosi and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Max Cookie. Today we'll continue to work at the architectural scene we were working before, and we'll start to model more stuff for the wall and finalize the thing we have actually. So the first thing we were doing is to work on this part, and we'll add more stuff over the ground and more stuff all around the room. So first thing, let's start creating some kind of additional table over the ground. So let's zoom there. Our room is really big, you know, and let's go in the camera to see if we can see more space and more stuff of our camera to see it better. Okay, so maybe something like that to have more space and more things. So we can create something in the middle there. So we'll have something on the ground, and to do something like that we can have, let's do it with a box. Maybe something really big but not so much high, so it will stay in the middle. Let's imagine in a place like that. Okay, and it will be a little bit higher, and let's say that this one is the carpet. Okay, so this one is a shader. Let's clean up just to have more space there. Let's say carpet, and we'll use a VRay Material. And let's assign. Okay, so I like to do something with this one, and let's see, first of all, to have a nice material. So let's go to have a bitmap, and we go inside the 3ds Max maps, and let's see in the maps there if we have something that can be nice to be used. So nothing so much interesting for the moment. Because I like to find something that can be nice to have on the ground. Let's see there, because I saw something that maybe can be interesting. So let's see if this one is used at 90 degrees. Okay, with no blurring, and then we'll have a little bit of Fresnel reflection, just a little bit, with maybe a glossy, and we'll have a little bit of anisotropy, so 0.3, and let's go to render a test, but I like to remove all the slow stuff, so we go for something really fast, and there we go for a lower amount, so 32.1, and there 32 megabytes, the gigabytes. Let's start to render. Okay, stop, and render just this area. Okay, we have this thing over the ground. Let's start playing with the displacement. So let's go to have more segments. Okay, and then we have the VRay Displacement modifier. and let's start playing with a 2D mapping, and let's use something, and we can go in the maps there and put a displaced map there. We can use, let's see if we have something similar to a carpet. Let's see. Maybe something like that can be interesting. So let's see this map. Obviously it is too big, and let's go to use the tiling. So 5 and 5, maybe 10 over this axis, and let's go for 0, 2 for the blurring. But obviously we don't use the displacement there, we use just the texture put there as an instance. Let's remove the filtering for the moment and save. And now we try to see if in this way we can have a nice result. Let's go for the 3D mapping, so we try actually the right way. Let's say that we have 32 max subdivision. Let's go with a higher amount of value, but first of all I like to search. Okay, the displacement is set to on. So let's say 5 centimeters, and we use this map, and let's say that we use maybe 64 and 2 pixels for the edges. So that's the actual result. You see that we have something. We have to say first of all that we use the keep continuity, so we have no problem over the border. And let's try to say that we have 3 for the amount, and we can render again, and it should be working fine, but just a test to be sure. Okay, you see that it's really nice. Now I'd like to add a little bit of displacement done also using a noise map. So let's do something like that. So let's go there and let's use a composite, keep all map as submap, and then there we use, let's go for a noise, and we go for let's say something like that with the fresh the fractal one. So you see, I'm just trying to have a little bit of stuff all around, and let's say that this one is an addition to the other one. Let's say maybe 25% or 35%, and let's make a test again, because we have to be sure that the scaling is right. We see something there. You see, I like to have a bigger scale, but to do something like that we can use the normal. We use 100%, and we go for, let's say, 100%, and let's see the result. So we are sure about the scaling. Okay, you see that we have some distortion, so we can say to have a little bit more, so 4 centimeters. So let's check again the render. Okay, it is a little bit more visible, so we can stay with 5, and we go for addition, and we have a right addition there. So let's try to see if it works fine. Okay, so we can have a lower value for this one, so we'll have less bumping displacement for this pass and more for the other one. Last test. And that's done. Okay, let's say that we stay with this value and we can move forward. We have the carpet. Now I like to add a table. So to add a table, we have just to create for the moment a box, just to have the proportion. Okay, so actually that's, let's say 2 meters by 1 meters. So it's really big, and let's say 50 centimeters, and we can have it there. And let's move to the center of this one. Nice. So we have to model the table starting from this mesh. So we can do something really simple, and I mean we can close there. We have just a box, and we can, for example, convert to editable poly. Now we get to have all the passes there, all the edges, sorry, can have the chamfer, and we go to have 0.25 for the chamfer with 2 steps and say yes. Okay, then I like to have another box, let's say similar to this one. So we say that this one is more little, it's this one, and let's zoom. So it will be something like that and something like that. Okay, so this one will go to have, and it will be also higher. So we'll have a little right, and let's make another copy, and this one will be lower but bigger. I'm just using a really simple way to do the things I need, and then clone as a copy. And this one is more little. We can use something like that. Okay, so let's go at full screen, and we pick the first one, and let's go for compound, pro boolean. We have set the subtraction, and the first one, let's go in perspective, and start picking also this one and also this one. Okay, nice. So you have, in a really fast way, this part of the table, and everything is really fast. Okay, nice. So convert to editable. Sorry. Okay. Now I like to peak in isolation. Let's convert to editable poly, and over these edges I like to do a little bit of chamfer, because we have no chamfer there, and we have no chamfer also on the other subtracted edges. So let's try to select all the edges needed. And let's check also this one. And also there, using the shift key obviously. So I like to be sure to have everything there and there too. the other outer are right, so we have not to select the outer stuff, but this one, for example, must be selected. Okay, and there we can use the chamfer again with 0.25 as before, and we can have 2 segments and say yes and close. Okay, back to the camera. Nice. Okay, back to the perspective, and we can start adding more stuff. And I mean, the first thing we can have is a plane, but before I like to use an ID material. So we have all the faces set to 1. Okay, and then I like to have just there set to 2. Okay, nice. Back there, let's say table center, just to know that this one is at this center. And we have a multi-sub objects, keep all map, set the number 2. Okay, the number 1 is this one, and that's good. And that's a VRay material. And we have a wood material. Obviously I will use some maps there from 3ds Max. If you have a better wood material, please use it. So let's see if we have something that can be interesting, like this one. Let's rotate by 90 degrees and no blurring. Freshening reflection. Sorry, let's go for maximum reflectivity and let's copy the same map there as a copy. Then we go inside this wood and we use the color correction, keep all map, and we remove the saturation, and we can have brighter reflectivity. Okay, then we need the glossiness. Let's make a copy. Sorry, let's go for a little bit more glossiness. Something like that can be nice, but we have obviously to check it. And then we need the bump, and something like this one can be useful to have it there. Let's say 5, so not so much bumping, and the blurring can be 0.3. Okay, then the material number 2 is a VRay material, and that's a chrome material, black, freshening reflection with maximum reflectivity, and let's say that the IRR is maybe 16, and we have a really high glossiness with a little bit of anisotropy. Okay, back there. So now I'd like to have a glass over it, and let's say that this one is an extended primitive chamfer box. Okay, and this one is 2 meters. Let's say 1 meters, 2 centimeters, maybe 1, and the fillet is 0.25, maybe less because it is a glass, so 0.15. The 8 is 1 centimeter. We put this one in the middle. Okay, then we move it over it, to a place like this one. I like to see really near. Okay, so let's zoom there. We can put a chamfer cylinder just to have something that stay down this part, to stay under the the glass. Okay, so we'll have something there. The radius is nice, the 8 is too much, and the fillet can be just a little bit, let's say 24 sides and more for the fillet. And there we can have a white gum. We use a VRay material, let's say something like that, with a little bit of yellow over it. Freshen reflection just a little bit, and let's go for something like that. Nice. Okay, we make a copy on the other side as an instance. Let's go there to zoom. And select both. As instance. Then we can zoom this one. And let's say, sorry, that we are moving over the right axis. Okay, let's go to the physical camera. Then let's pick the glass, and let's say table glass. It is a VRay material. Let's go for a black color. We have the freshen reflection with 1.4 for the IRR. And let's say that we have an EV reflection, but we have the IRR set to 101 for the refraction, and we have a really heavy refraction. So back in the render, let's select this bigger area there and render. Okay, let's remove just for a moment the displacement just to be faster. Let's say to the refraction to affect the shadows, and let's use a little bit of let's say something like that of fog multiplier. Let's see again how it looks. It is obviously too much, so let's go for 0.3 and let's render just this area. So you see it's just a little bit. Okay, so the other things I like to do is to add more detail to the table. So we have to add more stuff, and I like also to add a little bit of bumping maybe later. So let's go to use 1 there and 10 there for the refraction, and I like to add another piece inside, and I'm talking about a structure there. And to do something like that, we can do something like a box. It is obviously more little. It stay up, something like that, and we have 2 centimeters, and we have it there. Maybe we can put some metals to pick the wood and I like to, let's say, convert to editable poly, and we pick all the edges, and all the edges has a chamfer of 0.25 with 2 segments or 3 segments. Okay, nice. So let's go there and let's give the same material, and then from the top view we can go there and we can make something made of metal. And to do something like that, we can have, let's say, a compound object, an extended primitive, a chamfer box, and let's say something like that. Okay, this one must be moved, and we can have it higher, so it will be something like that to pick the entire material. And we say that this one, let's go for a material ID, so material ID number 2, and we use the same material. Okay, so let's make a clone using the shift key as an instance, and let's move it. We go to zoom it, and then let's select both, and we make a clone as instance, zoom sorry, just on one, and we move it. Nice. Let's save, made the test. Okay, maybe we can have less bumping, but we have to check it. So that's nice. And now I'd like to put something over the wall, and let's start preparing something. And we can do, maybe we can create, let's pick a sphere. Okay, let's rotate by 90 degrees. Okay, so we have to do something to make it more usable. So let's go in a perspective and zoom, isolate, and let's say that we have 64, generate mapping coordinates, then convert to editable poly. Let's pick all the with the selection in your back facing, select all the faces there and remove, so we have no capping. Then I like to pick less vertices there. Let's use a soft selection, it will be lower, and let's say that will be something like that. Okay, so you see it's more simple. It's not a problem to have the stuff there. Maybe we can just move it inside. Okay, so we are sure it is working, and then we can use a shell. Nice, and let's go for a little bit less, and then edit poly, and we can select, let's go to see the edges faces. We have, for example, this one. If we use, if we use the loop, and then we select, for example, this one, and we select the loop, we can go there and use the chamfer. We can use just maybe 0.15 with more subdivision. Okay, and we have our mesh. So back to the physical camera and edges faces, and let's put this one over the table, and we can have this one on this side. There it is in the middle. Okay, and this one can have a black color, let's say sphere base. It is a VRay material. It is black, just maybe one there. It has Fresnel reflection with maximum reflectivity. And let's go in the in the viewport just to check the rendering. So let's say that we render this part. Okay, you see that it's really reflective. So then we say that it has a really high glossiness. Let's render in the test. Okay, it is going to be better. I like to have just a little bit of anisotropy, and I like to have a bump. And we can have a bitmap. Let's see if we have something that can be useful in this case. Maybe we can use something like that. I know that it is not the right one, but it can be nice to see how it looks over it. Let's see just if we have something more interesting. Or maybe we can use this one. Okay, nice. Let's see the map, and let's start with the tiling. 10 and 10. So really little, and let's remove the bump, the blurring to really low value, and let's say -50 and render. We should see something over the surface. Okay, I like maybe to add just a little bit more glossiness. Okay, and save. In a really fast way, let's try to add more stuff to the table. So let's pick this part, let's go in isolation, so we have the stuff needed to create more interesting things. So something that we can add is something abstract for a modern home. So we go to have, let's say that we have a line, okay, and this one has a lathe at minimum, let's say 36, well, core, perspective, and zoom to the object. Okay, and then this one has a shell modifier. Okay, and then we have an edit poly. Let's go for the edges faces. Okay, and select this one and this one, loop, and then chamfer to 0, 15 with 3 edges. Okay, nice. Perfect. Let's make a copy. This one, the line is different. So let's say that we have this line lower, this one stays there, and this one is there. Then that's with the lathe and the shell and the edges faces, the edit poly. Okay, close. And we can have the pivot at the center, and this one, the pivot at the center. Okay, this one can be rotated by 180 degree, and this one can stay a little bit moved, but we'll use 2 chromic metal, and we can assign to the same, and the material will be a VRay material. Let's go in the perspective with a physical camera, and we have a black color, freshening reflection, let's say 8, a really high reflectivity and a little bit of glossiness, and we have a little bit of anisotropy. Okay, let's go in the camera and render there. We need less glossiness, let's say 0.92. Okay, maybe we can go also higher, so 0.98. I like to have really nice reflectivity over. Okay, it is reflecting in the right way. So let's pick both. We have to move it on the ground there. We can maybe scale over both axes and move it in the middle there, or maybe stay there, and we can rotate, but let's check without. So we can rotate from this point of view and save. Let's add some candle, and to add the candle we can first of all let's create something to maintain the candle inside, and we can do something like that. Let's zoom. We can move those vertices, and we can start refining. So we go to have there, there, and we can have something there and something there. Okay, let's remove the refine. We go to have this vertices there and this one near there. Then we move this one outside. Then this one stays there and we move it. This one can be a little bit inside. Same thing there. This one is outside. and this one is inside. Then we select all these vertices and also this one, and we say to use the fillet, and we start to have a little bit of fillet. Okay, nice. Then we go for a lathe with the minimum, let's say 36. Let's go in a perspective and let's work just on this one. Okay, so let's say that this one has let's say that we have an edit poly, or maybe before we have a shell modifier, and we go for 0 there and just a little bit inside. Or maybe let's try to have just a little bit outside. Okay, then edit poly, and let's say that the face in the middle, as ID set to 2, then the part on the top, so let's see there, we say that there on the top, but with the window selection as 3, the same there, 3. Okay, let's say there we have 3, then select, invert, we have 1, and then select in the middle with the crossing, and we have 2. Okay, let's create there a material, candle glass, and this one is a 3 material with a multi-sub object, so let's say 3. So the first one is a gold, and we use a VRay material. We'll go for a black color. We have freshener reflection, let's say maybe 2.4, and the reflection is with this color similar to a gold, but we go for something darker. Okay, just that's just the beginning. So then we have, and there we can say that this one is the gold. Okay, then the second one is the glass, so we can use glass, and we say that we have a black freshening reflection with 1.4 with a really high reflectivity, just a little bit of reflection glossiness, affect shadows. Let's go for an eye refraction, and let's say that we have 1.0, and we have a little bit of fog multiplier, let's say 0.25. Nice. And then the third one is a VRay material, and that's just a metal, so we have a really high reflectivity with the higher air set to 18, and a little bit of anisotropy and reflection. So back to the camera, and without the let's render and let's see how it looks. I don't like to match the material there, the yellow color. Okay, there is a problem because I used the brown color. Let's render again. It should work in a better way. Okay, and we can have something different, something like that. and it can be a little bit less with the glossiness, so we have more blurring. And let's say that we have maybe 4. Let's see again. Okay, something like that. So over the other bath, I like to have again brighter reflectivity. Okay, inside this one we can have a candle. So let's make the pivot in the center, and inside this one we can have, let's use an extended primitives, and we use for a chamfer cylinder, and we say something like that. Okay, let's move it, and we put this one in the middle. Okay, so let's make a clone of this camera just to be nearest, and let's make a clone. Sorry, edit clone. Let's go for the camera 2, and we can move it. Let's select the camera target. Okay, so we can check there, and then let's select this one. Let's get in the right point of view, move it over the table. Okay, so we have the right model, but let's see with the edges faces. Let's go for chamfer. Sorry, to have more cap segments. Then let's try also to have more sides, 32. Then let's go for an edit poly. We pick these vertices with a soft selection, a lower soft selection. Okay, we go to move it a little bit. Okay, and then we put something inside, so we can use again chamfer cylinder, something really little. Okay, and this one can stay in the middle of the candle. We can put it there, and it should be more little, a little bit higher, with less fillet, more segments over the 8, less over the sides. We don't need cap segments. And then we can put a band. Okay, just to have a little bit of curve. So let's say there we have the black candle, and this one is simply VRay material with a black color, nothing so important. Maybe just a little bit of reflectivity, nothing so much, with a really glossiness. Then we have the candle, and to make the candle we can go there, let's say candle, and we can go for a VRay Fast SS2, and let's use, or maybe to make it more simple and fast, we can use just a VRay Material, and we go to have something clear like this one, and then let's go to have a little bit of reflectivity with the freshener reflection as always. We have a little bit of glossiness refraction, a glossiness over the reflection, and then we go to have the refraction. Let's say that we have a little bit nothing so much, and we need the glossiness also there, so we go for something higher. Let's go for 0.4 for example, and then we pick the color using the fog color. So we go for something like a yellow color. We say maybe 0.4, and let's try to see how it looks, and then we tweak the various parameter. So let's render there. Okay, we have a little bit of wax look. Let's use also the translucency. Let's go for the artworks. Let's say that the scattering is more similar to a yellow color, and we say that the scatter coefficient is higher. Let's go for something real similar to 0.7. We can have a little bit less coefficient for forward background, and let's see the result. Okay, and let's go for a higher level for the multiplier. Let's try with 5. Okay, it is nice. Okay, so we have this candle, so we can pick also the other object there, and this one is a group. Let's call it candle 1, and we can zoom, and we can have, for example, a candle on the side and another candle with a different proportion also there. So let's make a copy. We open this group, and let's say that there this candle is different, so let's go for a perspective, pick this one, zoom. Let's see if we can do it, and it will be higher. Okay, and let's pick this one and rotate it just to have something different, and this one can be a little bit different, and the okay, close. So back to the camera number 2, and maybe to do something interesting we can have, let's open again, and let's have this one a little bit with a different radius. Okay, and group, close, and save. So let's go in the viewport, render there, and let's pick this area and make a test render. I like to add a little bit more reflectivity to the glass we are using there, so let's go for the glass. Okay, and let's say that the reflection there are maybe 165. Let's see again the render. Okay, we can also change a little bit the fog multiplier. Let's go for 0.5 because I like to have a different look for the glass. Okay. Okay, nice. So another thing, I like to go to check the metal there has too much glossiness. Let's see an example there. Okay, so This part is nice. I like to have more bumping there, so let's go for, maybe we can do something else. So let's pick this one and let's have a VRay Displacement, and let's remove this one and put as a map for making the displacement 2 centimeters, and back in the render we can render this part, but we have to set again the bumping, sorry, the displacement inside the render. Displace and render. Okay, it is obviously too much. We need to have -0.5. Okay, it is a little bit better, but I like to have a lower amount, so let's go for something really little. Let's try in this way. So you see the result is nicer than before. We can go just a little bit lower to 0.1 and it should be okay. So we have this part of the table, and we can just maybe add something more to have a little bit more stuff ready, and then we can continue on the next part. Let's check with the perspective. We have to put stuff also there. So let's stay with the table in this way actually, and I like, let's remove the shapes there, and I like to fix another problem there. Let's go the middle, group open, and we have the glass there. Okay, let's check the glass. Let's set renderable, and let's pick the shader, and let's say that there we have 1.0 for the aero red, and we can have a little bit more reflectivity, 1.6, and let's see a test render. So physical camera 1, let's try to render just this area. So let's try it there, and that's okay too. So let's make just a test for the entire image, but let's go for displacement, and to be faster let's do a more little render. We'll use the anti-alias. We go for something better for the rendering, and let's go for 64 and 4. It is not the final settings, but it can give us a nice quality. And let's try to render. So it will take just a little bit. That's the first result. You see, it's really not bad, and we can let's make a clone for this one. So let's pick the group, let's close, and let's make a clone. Let's go in isolation, and I like to make something a little bit different. So let's open the group, and let's pick those boxes. I will change it manually. Let's remove the group from the selection. Okay, let's use an edit poly over both. And let's say that those vertices will be scaled over the y-axis, and these vertices will be scaled over the other axis. This image will be changed, So we pick this one, let's make a copy, and we call it art number 2. We can assign, and let's choose another texture. Let's call it, let's see if we have something there, the ground. Let's say, for example, this one. Okay, let's rotate by 90 degrees. Group close, and we have to rotate it. So rotate by 90 degrees. Let's hide, and then we can move this one, for example, there, and let's remove these boxes there. Let's scale this one, and it can go there and maybe there. So this one a little bit higher, and this one too. Okay, let's go back to the camera. Let's see without the displacement. So you see, it's not bad, the general quality. Then in the next part we'll add more furniture there and on the side, and we'll start to finalize some more things. So maybe with not so much part we can finalize the entire image. Let's see also from the other camera, just to see when we are near how it looks. Maybe we can just move a little bit to have a more interesting image. So let's see, for example, this point of view. That's without the displacement. Now we see a test also with the displacement. Generally it seems nice. Okay, let's set to on the displacement and render. Okay, you see that generally the quality is really nice actually, so we can continue in this way to update the final image. So for the moment that's all, and I hope to see you back on Max Cookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye.